Have you ever wondered why you feel things before they happen? Why someone's name slips into your mind right before they call? Or how, in your quietest moments, it feels like something ancient is trying to speak through you? This isn't coincidence. It's a signal. And no, you're not imagining it. There is a part of you, deep, radiant, and untamed, that already holds the kind of power most people only read about in secret manuscripts or forgotten scrolls. The real question is, why were you taught to ignore it? This isn't just another video. This is a threshold, a key disguised as a whisper. You're about to explore a path that countless mystics, seers, and initiates have walked in silence, a path towards psychic awakening so potent it has been deliberately hidden in plain sight. The truth? You are already capable of godlike perception, influence, and insight. But awakening it may feel dangerous to the version of you that was shaped to stay asleep. If something inside you is stirring right now, keep watching. You were meant to find this. They've always told you power lives outside of you, in systems, schools, credentials, and structures. But what if that was the first lie designed to keep you small? Your body is a transmitter, your mind an antenna, and your spirit, well, it's already broadcasting in frequencies few ever learn to hear. Intuition, telepathy, remote sight. These aren't anomalies. They're simply dormant faculties waiting to be remembered. You weren't born lacking. You were born luminous. Watch. A child before the world tells them who to be. They speak to invisible friends, feel what others feel, and sense danger before it happens. That's not fantasy. That's unfiltered access. But then comes the conditioning. Don't be weird. Stop daydreaming. That's just your imagination. Each phrase slices away a piece of your inner knowing. Eventually, most forget what was once so natural and call it growing up. What they call maturity is often just a dimming of inner light. The system wasn't designed to awaken you. It was designed to tame you. Schools prioritize memorization over revelation. Media trains you to absorb, not to sense. Even religion in many forms teaches you that divinity is elsewhere, above, outside, beyond. But the truth? You've never been separate. You are the veil, and you are what lies behind it. There's no need to reach, only to remember. Real. Psychic ability begins when you stop trying to become something and start peeling away what was never yours. It's not about adding more to who you are, but subtracting the noise. Rituals aren't tricks, they're tools to quiet the static and tune you back in. Try sitting silently with an obsidian stone, palms open, breath steady. It's not the stone doing the work, it's you using a mirror. Awareness amplified becomes intuition clarified. Start paying attention to your first instincts, the gut response, that flicker of a feeling before logic smothers it. Write them down. Speak them aloud. Trust them even when they make no sense, especially then. Your psychic channels open the moment you take them seriously. Ignore them, and they recede like a tide unwelcomed. Dreams, too, are gateways. Don't brush them off. Keep a dream journal by your bed and write the moment you awaken. Even fragments are gold. Often the mind replays other dimensions when you sleep, but the modern world calls it random noise. Truth is, you're walking other realms nightly, and if you learn the language of symbols, you'll remember the map. This is why so many feel a strange emptiness, not because they lack something, but because they've forgotten what they are. You don't need to be psychic. You already are. The ache isn't for power. It's for permission. And no one else can grant it but you. Wakefulness doesn't arrive like thunder. It hums back to life, one remembered truth at a time. You've never been disconnected. The signal was only muffled. Now, something is clearing, the fog lifting, the noise dissolving. You may not know why you're hearing this now, but your soul does. It's time to stop playing small in a universe designed for your expansion. And once you remember the power you hold, everything else starts to unravel. Most people still believe their thoughts are private little clouds drifting safely behind the skull. But that's a comforting illusion. In truth, every thought is a transmission, subtle energy sent out like sonar, felt before it's ever heard. Your emotional current gives it charge, your belief gives it shape. And the universe, well, it listens to everything you say inside. You've walked into rooms and felt tension without a word being spoken. That wasn't imagination, that was vibrational awareness. Thoughts soaked in emotion imprint space, color perception, alter behavior. Even silence carries signature. Think about someone long enough and they'll text you. Dismiss it as coincidence, and you miss the signal. Reality is always responding, not to what you want, but to what you're being. Your vibration is not optional. It's the broadcast tower of your life. Joy radiates differently than fear. Shame magnetizes patterns. Clarity creates opportunities where confusion sees walls. This is why healing matters, not for morality, but for precision. Clean energy shapes clean reality. Messy signals bring loops. There's an ancient truth hidden in plain sight. You're not experiencing the world. You're experiencing your mind filtered through the world. You aren't watching reality. You're projecting onto it. What you believe, you'll perceive. What you repeat, you'll reinforce. The external is simply a mirror with better lighting. Try this. For one day, become the watcher of your thoughts. No judgment, just observation. Notice how often your inner voice loops inherited beliefs, criticism, fear. Then ask, whose voice is that really? Often it's not yours. It's a parent, a teacher, an old echo pretending to be you. To reclaim your signal, you must first reclaim your voice. The reason most people feel stuck is because they're recycling frequencies. Unconsciously, they're emitting doubt but asking for clarity, craving love while vibrating abandonment, wanting abundance with a poverty current humming underneath. Life doesn't respond to your words, it responds to your frequency. And your frequency is shaped by what you think when no one's watching. One small shift can ripple into transformation. Replace a single mental loop with one chosen belief. I am unsafe becomes I am guided. Nothing works out for me becomes everything is aligning. Speak it, feel it. Let it be awkward at first. You're learning to sculpt reality again. Eventually, your thoughts will echo back as changed circumstance. The sacred irony is this: the moment you take ownership of your inner broadcast, the outer world bends in recognition. The veil thins, people shift, synchronicities accelerate, and suddenly, life begins to feel less like chaos and more like something you're secretly writing from the inside out. It doesn't begin with fireworks, it begins with a flicker, a quiet sense that you are the one generating the signal now. Not just absorbing reality like a sponge, but shaping it like clay. The moment you realize your focus is not just observation, but creation, that's the first pulse. It hums beneath the surface of your skin, subtle but unmistakable. This is when life stops happening to you and begins moving through you. That shift is sacred. You start to see patterns, not as coincidences, but as reflections of your inner broadcast. The outside world becomes responsive. Conversations feel timed, numbers repeat. It's not magic, it's alignment revealing itself in plain daylight, but the mind resists. Oh, it clings hard to the illusion of control, of logic, of linear thought. This isn't practical. It whispers, be realistic. Yet something ancient in you is already stirring, a memory of when you created effortlessly, with intent instead of effort. The more you ignore that memory, the louder the ache becomes. So you begin experimenting, a conscious thought here, a shifted belief there. You ask for signs and they come. You speak something aloud, and within days it appears. Not always how you imagined, but close enough to raise your eyebrow. The pulse gets stronger when you trust it. That trust becomes the initiation. Don't underestimate simplicity. Lighting a candle with intention, drinking water as if it were a sacred elixir, sitting quietly before a decision, asking for inner guidance and waiting for the whisper. These small acts are rituals of alignment. They train your signal to pierce through the fog of unconscious noise. With each alignment, you grow quieter inside, but louder to the universe. The pulse turns into presence. You walk differently. People feel it. Animals look at you longer. Children stare. You're not broadcasting chaos anymore. You're sending clarity. And clarity is rare. Clarity is magnetic. At this stage, people will either be drawn to you or triggered by you. Don't take it personally. Your new frequency doesn't flatter ego, and it invites transformation. Some will feel inspired. Others will run. Let them. You didn't awaken to convince. You awakened to remember. And remembering is contagious to those who are ready. What begins as a flicker becomes a rhythm, a sacred drumbeat beneath your thoughts. You no longer chase, you attract. You no longer doubt, you listen. And as you settle into this state, reality starts to bend, not break. This is the real threshold. Not seeing more, but being more. Emotions are not obstacles, they are invitations. Every time you feel rage, sorrow, jealousy, or despair, you are standing in the presence of raw psychic voltage. Most people suppress, distract, or spiritualize their pain too quickly. Thinking avoidance is mastery. But nothing buried ever disappears, it only grows roots. Alchemy begins when you stop running. Feelings are frequencies in motion. Fear is just energy with nowhere to go. Anger is unspoken truth trying to claw its way out. Jealousy is desire misdirected. These aren't flaws, these are indicators. The mystic doesn't deny emotions, they decode them, and in decoding they unlock power most never touch. Try this. The next time a heavy emotion surfaces, don't analyze it. Sit with it. Name it aloud without judgment. This is grief. This is fear. Let it speak. Place a hand on your chest, breathe deeply, and just listen. What you'll notice is that the emotion begins to shift. Not because you resisted it, but because you honored it. Suppressed emotion turns into psychic static. It distorts your signal, muddles your intuition, and keeps you locked in loops. You can't receive clear guidance when your inner world is clogged with undigested energy. This is why emotional clearing is not optional for awakening. It's foundational. If you want clarity, clean your vessel. Water holds memory. Try releasing emotions in the shower. Imagine pain washing down the drain. Write a letter to what hurts and burn it with intention. Chant ancient sounds, like lam for grounding or yam for the heart, to vibrate your body into harmony. These aren't symbolic acts, they are energetic technologies. When you become emotionally fluent, everything changes. You recognize that emotions are weather, not identity. Passing storms, not definitions of who you are. You stop fearing sadness because you know how to hold it. You stop denying anger because you know how to channel it. This is where power begins to concentrate. Think of the alchemist turning lead into gold. What they were really doing was inner work disguised as chemistry. Your lead is your pain, your past, your suppressed truth. The gold is your clarity, your magnetism, your expanded intuition. But there's no shortcut. You transmute by embracing, not escaping. The secret isn't to feel better, it's to feel fully. For in the fullness, emotion transforms. Energy becomes insight. Suffering becomes signal. You stop being a prisoner of your moods and become the conductor of your current. And when that happens, your signal pierces the veil. Attention is currency in the unseen world. Wherever it goes, energy flows. And what receives sustained energy begins to take shape. Most people spend their attention like loose change, scattered across distractions, doubts, and mental noise. But the awakened mind learns to invest attention, not just spend it. Focus isn't rigidity, it's sacred intention in motion, and it amplifies everything it touches. There's a reason ancient initiates trained in silence, candle gazing, and breathwork. These weren't quaint rituals, they were exercises in concentration. To hold your awareness on one thing without letting it wander is a psychic workout. It builds voltage, it sharpens perception. It teaches your nervous system how to stay centered in chaos. Try this for 7 days. Pick one simple object, a flame, a crystal, a glass of water, and observe it without thought for 5 minutes. Every time your mind drifts, bring it back, gently. This isn't about perfection, it's about returning. That's the real training, not staying still but coming back to stillness. Over time, your inner space expands. You'll notice it first in small ways. Your intuition gets clearer. Your reactions slow down. You start noticing synchronicities others miss. Focus doesn't make you boring, it makes you magnetic. The world moves fast, but your presence becomes slower, deeper, more deliberate. That contrast alone is a signal to the unseen. In the digital age, attention is harvested. Feeds, ads, alerts, all designed to fracture your field. But when you reclaim it, even partially, you begin radiating coherence. Coherence is rare, and anything rare becomes powerful. People feel your calm before you speak. Environments shift to meet your tone. Don't confuse focus with force. You're not trying to grip life into submission. True focus is relaxed awareness, like a cat watching a bird, fully there but not tense. It's the difference between trying to control and choosing to be clear. And clarity, when sustained, bends the invisible toward you. Monks speak of one-pointed mind. Mystics call it single-eye vision. It's the art of tuning everything else out until the signal sharpens. You stop asking for signs. You become the sign. You don't need a louder voice. You need a quieter field. From that stillness, your influence multiplies. The truth is, the world doesn't respond to how busy you are. It responds to how coherent you are. Scatter your energy and you weaken your impact. Gather it and you become undeniable. Focus isn't just power, it is the path, and it's always leading deeper in. Desire isn't a flaw, it's a compass. Not the shallow craving for what the world tells you to want, but the deeper current pulling you toward what your soul already knows is possible. When you feel that pull, strong, quiet, persistent, that's voltage. Most people short-circuit it with guilt, fear, or self-doubt, but uncorrupted desire is clean power. It moves mountains without shouting. Look closely and you'll see. What you want isn't random. It's coded into your energy field, waiting to be unlocked through alignment. But here's the catch. Most people desire from scarcity. I want money so I can feel safe. I want love so I'm not alone. That distortion muddies the signal. The universe hears fear, not clarity. And it responds to what you are, not what you beg for. Pure desire is unmistakable. It doesn't bleed. It glows. You can feel it in your gut, like a frequency rising before words can catch it. It's not frantic, it's focused. Not needy, magnetic. When you drop the fear behind the want, what's left is your true transmission. And that, my friend, bends reality. Try this. Write down a single desire you have, but strip it of all fear. If you want love, remove the ache of loneliness. If you want wealth, remove the panic. What remains? A desire for expansion, for expression, for truth made manifest. Now feel it in your body. Speak it aloud. That's voltage, not fantasy. Desire is how the soul communicates with the material world. It whispers in images, feelings, and quiet nudges. That book idea that won't leave you alone. That dream that returns night after night. These are not coincidences. They are blueprints. Ignore them, and the current fades. Honor them, and the charge intensifies. Manifestation is often misunderstood. It's not about thinking hard enough. It's about holding your signal long enough. Like a tuning fork, desire sends out a vibration, and reality begins rearranging to meet it. But that requires staying true to the signal, even when it seems like nothing is happening. That's faith, not fantasy. And yes, desire will test you. It will ask if you're willing to shed what no longer fits. It will stretch you into becoming the version of yourself that can hold what you've called in. Most quit too soon, mistaking delay for denial. But delay is often preparation. The voltage is building. The current is aligning, so desire truly and fully. Not as escape, but as declaration. Not as compensation, but as creative force. The cleaner your signal, the quicker the echo. And when that echo arrives, it won't feel like a reward. It'll feel like a return. Reality isn't shaped by what you occasionally believe. It's shaped by what you believe consistently. Most people repeat the same thoughts daily and wonder why nothing changes. But the universe isn't listening to your intentions. It's responding to your patterns. Thought becomes form through rhythm, not force. And rhythm is born through repetition. Think of your subconscious like a garden. Whatever you plant over and over grows. Plant fear, self-doubt, and limitation, and they become your normal. Plant possibility, presence, and sovereignty, and your world begins to reconfigure. But here's the trick. The soil doesn't judge the seed. It simply amplifies what's planted most often. The nervous system doesn't know the difference between imagination and reality. So every time you visualize, affirm, or feel a state on purpose, you're rehearsing a new reality. Athletes use this, shamans use this, magicians call it spell work. Whether you're saying a mantra or picturing the life you want, you're coding your field with repetition. Try whispering a single phrase to yourself throughout the day. I am clear. I am safe. I am already becoming. Not to convince yourself, but to align yourself. Repetition isn't mindless, it's magnetic. And every time you return to that chosen thought, you deepen the groove in the energetic record of your being. Even music teaches this. The chorus repeats because it imprints. The universe works the same way. What you chant inwardly becomes your inner soundtrack. What you rehearse emotionally becomes your vibration. Repetition isn't boring. It's the spiral staircase to transformation. With each turn, you rise. So if you want a new life, build new grooves, thought by thought, word by word, not once or twice, but as a daily offering. What you practice in the unseen becomes your reality in the seen, and once that current gains momentum, it becomes very hard to stop. Some think awakening is the final arrival, the mountaintop moment where all becomes still. But true awakening is the first breath after a long sleep. It doesn't free you from life, it plugs you deeper into it. Everything becomes more vivid, more sensitive, more responsive. You realize that awareness is not an escape hatch. It's the doorway to radical responsibility. Before awakening, it's easy to blame others, fate, the world, the system. Afterward, you see the game. Your thoughts sculpt outcomes, your words hold charge, your mood steers events. This doesn't mean guilt. It means power. Power to course correct, to realign, to refine your frequency. It means being accountable for the energy you bring into every room. The path doesn't get easier, it gets real. Shadows rise not to haunt you, but to be seen and cleared. You start noticing where you've been acting asleep while thinking you were awake. Suddenly, you hear the subtext in conversations, the tension behind smiles, the quiet call of your own soul. Life begins speaking in symbols. Silence becomes the loudest teacher. Awakening strips away your excuses. No more waiting for signs. You become one. No more hoping someone else will shift first. You shift, and the field around you bends accordingly. You start treating your time, your thoughts, and your relationships like sacred technologies. Because they are, and the universe meets you at that level, you don't get to numb out anymore. Not because it's wrong, but because it simply stops working. Distractions lose flavor, old games fall flat. You crave truth, even when it's messy. You crave connection, not performance. The awakened one sees the sacred in the ordinary, and suddenly everything matters again. So don't mistake the flicker for the flame. Awakening is not the finale. It's the spark before the forge. What you do next is the real initiation. And if you stay present in this new light, life will start arranging itself to match the fire you now carry. There's a moment, quiet and sudden, when you stop looking for the power out there. The teachers, the systems, the rituals, they were never the source. They were reflections, guides, reminders. But the flame, it's always been within. You are not waiting to receive power. You are peeling away everything that told you you didn't have it. This journey is not about accumulation. It's about return. Returning to clarity, simplicity, sovereignty. Psychic ability isn't something you gain like a badge. It's the natural expression of a soul that has uncluttered itself. The clearer the channel, the stronger the signal. That's why so much of awakening feels like loss. You're losing noise, not self. Start paying attention to how often you outsource your knowing. What do they think? What's the right way? Who can tell me? But what if you knew already, not as a fact, but as a frequency? The answers often arrive not through the mind, but through resonance. You just feel when something aligns. That feeling, that's your compass. Practice stillness, not to escape, but to listen. Walk slowly, breathe deeply. Ask questions without rushing for answers. Your power speaks in sensations, not shouts. That gut pull, that tingle on your skin, that inner yes, that's the current reawakening. As you trust it more, the noise fades further into the background. Eventually, you stop needing confirmation. You don't need the signs, the symbols, or the sequences. They're beautiful, yes, but your life becomes the proof. You feel it in your spine, in your breath, in how people pause around you now. Not because you're louder, but because your field speaks before your mouth does. This is when you stop chasing power and start embodying it. Not dominance, not ego, just a steady, resonant presence. You become the tuning fork, the lighthouse, and without effort, without force, others begin to remember themselves in your glow. Now you understand. This path was never about becoming something else. It was about remembering who you've always been. A signal, a force, a living current of perception and creation, ready to shape reality with clarity and calm fire. The journey doesn't end here. It begins each time you choose presence over programming, alignment over anxiety, vision over noise. If this spoke to something ancient inside you, trust it. You didn't find this by accident. Like and subscribe if you're walking this path too. And if you're still here, comment the word resonance below so I know you've remembered.